I'd had a lot of success in Nashville, really from almost when I got there, working with Olivia Newton-John on her album there, starting Amy Grant's career, working with B.J. Thomas, Imperials, winning some Grammys. And so in about the first 5 years, I'd really done a lot of things. I really wanted to know if I could do it with the big fish. Can I swim with the big fish? That was in L.A. at the time. As I was into pop music, I only went to Nashville because it was the closest music city. It was not because I love country. So I went to LA, and my mother knew somebody in Abilene that had a stockbroker named Joe Leach who worked at Bear Stearns. So I went to meet with Joe, and he said, I don't really know anybody in the music business except one guy's kind of in the music business, and his name is Robert Kardashian. So he said, I can set up a lunch with him. He owned a rag sheet or a weekly periodical called Radio and Records. And it was the Bible for what radio stations looked at to decide what to play. They had a lot of data of what type of formats, what songs appeal to certain demographics. And so Robert and I had lunch, and from that day forward, we were just best friends until the day he died. Well, eventually we were always together, and when I went to LA, I started writing songs with J.C. Crowley. He wrote Baby Come Back, and Kerry Chater, who was in Gary Puckett and the Union Gap, wrote a bunch of hits. And so Robert heard these demos that I was doing. He said, hey, those are really good. Do you want me to get you a record deal? I said, well, sure. I was just writing songs to try to get the Carpenters and different people to record. But he said, I think I can get you a record deal with those. So I went to Neil Bogart, who had just finished Casablanca, Village People, Kiss, Donna Summer, and he was starting a new label called Boardwalk. And Robert signed me to Boardwalk. I was the first act signed to Boardwalk. Well then, the first album on a new label has to be a hit. So he went to Bob Gaudio, the Four Seasons Jersey Boys, who had just finished Neil Diamond's and Barbra Streisand's You Don't Bring Me Flowers monster hit. He did Coming to America with Neil Diamond. I mean, he was the #1 producer of the day. So here I was, the first album, Robert Kardashian, who owned the main radio tip sheet that the radio stations looked at to play, got me a deal with Neil Bogart, music legend, and then had Bob Gaudio, who was the greatest producer of the time, produce the album. Then he went to get Gary Bernstein to take the picture, who had done the famous Farrah Fawcett poster, and you know, he was an incredible photographer. So Robert Kardashian pulled all that together. And then, not to be outdone, Chris realized when I started doing TV shows, Chris Kardashian said, you don't dress that swift. I mean, you're starting to do these national TV shows. So she took me out, we went on Melrose and the different shopping malls, and she bought me some leather pants and leather boots and a leather outfit, pink shirt, way hipper than I would have ever bought to myself. So I got a little fashion from Chris. So with Robert's help, he brought a choreographer to help me with some moves. And so with Robert's helping me with moves and Chris helping me with my wardrobe, I was ready for prime time.